Hey everyone, so I've got a brand new laptop and I want to show you everything that I'm going to install on it or that I have installed on it just to get a simple basic application up and running. From a new laptop to the software I install to run an application. Let's go to downloads first. So if we open the Finder and go to downloads, we can see we've got Google Chrome. I just prefer to use Google Chrome. We have this Terminus. This is used as an SSH client. I use to SSH into servers and things. OBS, that's what I need for right now to record the screen so I can show you guys exactly what I'm doing. Then we have IntelliJ. I love the JetBrains suite of products. So if I'm using Java, for example, I'll always use IntelliJ. If I'm using a Python project, I'll use PyCharm. The only exception is probably for UI stuff. So if I'm building like a React application, rather than using WebStorm, which is their kind of JavaScript IDE, I probably will use Visual Studio. It's not something I've downloaded yet because I don't do as much UI work as I do back-end stuff. Back-end stuff is kind of where my interests lie. Then we have Docker. Um, it's very easy if you're containerizing some of your applications, or if you're using an application locally and you want to spin up a local Postgres database or Oracle database or MySQL or even some sort of messaging system like Kafka or Pulsar. It's very easy to just get a Docker container or image, spin it up, and there you go. So yeah, I love Docker. Then there's GitHub Desktop. This is something that I kind of use, kind of don't use. This is optional. Um, I find it handy sometimes when you're kind of picking bits of code that you want to commit and that you don't want to commit, and pushing and stuff. But a lot of the time, I just use the command line, like the git commands, or use the built-in uh, visual interface in IntelliJ. But anyway, it is downloaded there. Then we have these two demo applications here. This is what I downloaded from Spring Initializer, which I'll show you in a minute. But that's really all that I have downloaded. So it's pretty basic, and you could do without Google Chrome, you could do without this, you could do without OBS. You would need some sort of IDE, so you would need IntelliJ. You don't need Docker for this sample application either, and you don't need GitHub Desktop. So the only one you really need is IntelliJ because you need to have an IDE to create this application. Now, the other things that you do need that's not kind of something that you go onto a website and download and you'd see here, I'm going to show you now in my terminal. So the first one is um, Git itself. Yeah, again, you don't need it for this project, but it's like you're going to need to put your project somewhere so you can show them or just to have them as a backup because you don't want all the stuff on your local machine just in case I don't know, you break your laptop, it gets um, stolen, or maybe just you re re-imaged your laptop or something and now you have no access to it. So yeah, always a good idea to put stuff in Git. So we have Git installed. That's the Git version there. Again, we don't need it for this example. If you're just following along and you want to create a basic application after you've got a new laptop, you can skip the Git version. But what you will need if you're creating a Java application is you'll need Java, obviously enough. You can see we're using Java 17. And you'll also need MVN version. So there's the Maven version. I actually use a thing called SDKman, so it's SDKman, that's the name of it, to download my Java versions and my Maven versions because it allows you to switch between different versions of Java, different versions of Maven, which is very handy if you're working on multiple applications that have various versions. Maybe not so much for your personal use because you could kind of just say to yourself, right, well, I'm only going to use the latest version of Java. But if you're working somewhere, it's most likely that you'll have applications that range from, at this stage, everything's probably on Java 8 with some rare exceptions. up to maybe Java 21 if it's a brand new application. So there's quite a range there from Java 8 to Java 21. But yeah, you can use them all using this, so I would highly recommend it. Now the next thing we want to do is we want to go on to Spring Initializer. This is the website I use when I'm creating a brand new Java Spring Boot application, and I just select what type of management we're going to use for the project. It's going to be Maven. The language is going to be Java. This version constantly changes, but for now we're going to do 3.34. We'll leave all this as is. Select jar. We're going to use version 17, and then we're going to add a dependency called Spring Web. So we've got that. Then hit generate, and this will generate a zip file, and then you're just going to go and unzip that file. Click that button, and once you have that unzipped, what we're going to do is we're going to open it up in IntelliJ, and or whatever ID you use. If you prefer to use something else, that's fine also. And then open up the terminal in IntelliJ and type this command, maven clean install, and it'll take a few minutes. I've already typed it out there, so if I go up here just to show you what I done earlier, I typed in maven clean install, and then it took a little while because it had to go and fetch all these jars, and initially it takes a little while to go and fetch them all. But if I was to go and execute a maven clean install now, since I now have all these jars locally on my machine, this should be done in a matter of, yeah, look, I don't know, what did that take? 15 seconds? Less actually, took 6.5. So, but the first time I done that, it had to actually go out and make network requests and then to actually find the jars. So when you do it the first time, it may take a few minutes depending on your internet speed and stuff like that. But it may take 5 minutes. But then when you do it again, it'll take like 5 seconds. Now, one thing to just note in this POM file here, we haven't got that many dependencies, right? So you kind of be wondering to yourself, why does it take so long initially to grab all these jars? And that's because one of these dependencies, so if we were to pick this Spring Boot starter test, for example, if we were to go into this and we were to look at this version and everything, we can see that within this version, there's many other dependencies, and it has to go and get those dependencies. So that is, for example, this one, and then this one has more dependencies, and it goes down a tree-like structure like that. But anyway, that is that bit. Now, what we want to do is we want to go and run this application. We see that it builds successfully, so that's brilliant, that's great. But if we go to our edit configurations, it should do this automatically for you in IntelliJ, but if you're having some sort of issues, I'm just going to show you this screen so you can make sure that you're using the exact same as me. So that name can be anything, local, your Java version, and your entry point for your application. So your entry point, it might not be the same name as this, but your entry point would be whatever is in your source, main, Java, and then this, so this file here. So let's go and hit run. And if we go and hit run, we can see this will start up in like a few seconds as well, if everything goes right. So yeah, you can see in around 7 seconds, the application was able to start. And now if we go to our browser and we go and hit this, we can see localhost port 8080, because if we were to look at the logs, we can see that it's running on port 8080 here. Now, this is a brand new application. We've just got the very bare bones of it working, so there's nothing to actually display here. All it displays is this error page, but we know that our server is getting hit, and our server is the one that's giving back this error page with this 404 not found. And how do we know that it's actually our server that's doing this and that's just not the default behavior? Well, we know if we stop this application is no longer running. We go back to our web page and we hit refresh, we can see this site cannot be reached. So our server was actually hosting that 404 error file. But that's it. Brand new laptop, very basic software setup. You could have the whole lot downloaded and installed in an evening, or a couple of hours. The longest bit is actually the updates and stuff like that for like Mac itself. As far as downloading IntelliJ and installing Git and Java, like that stuff takes, an hour. I hope you found this video useful.